Andrew Yang, as always, is, pontificating on Twitter with his kind of like vague platitudes and the sort. Um, you know, and you guys know our history with Andrew Yang. I used to be a bit more optimistic about him. I used to like him more, especially when he was running for president. I really appreciated the fact that he introduced the concept of a universal basic income into the discussion. But ever since he, dropped out, endorsed Joe Biden while Bernie Sanders was still in the race, and then went on to run a very embarrassing mayoral campaign in New York City, which he got absolutely humiliated in. My opinion of the guy has, needless to say, gone downhill quite a bit. Yeah, he got fourth place after being number one in polling for months. So
and clearly had more name recognition than anyone else.
Yeah, easily. He really, truly shit the bed on that one. So after losing twice as a Democrat, Andrew Yang decided it was a good time to, become a third party guy, right? That's his new lane now, which is what he's always tweeting about. And again, credit where it's due. I agree with him. We do need a third party. Now, does his solution, which is the Forward Party, do I think that's going to, seriously affect anything for the better or change the system in a good way? Not necessarily, no. It seems like he hasn't sworn off taking large campaign contributions from super PACs and industries. So I don't really see how the Forward Party is even going to be all that different as far as its functionality than the Democrats or Republicans were it to succeed, which, let's be honest, it's not going to. But again, even if it did succeed, I don't really see how it would be the antidote to our duopoly that he's presenting it as. But again, when it comes to the baseline assertion that we need a third party, I do agree with him. Again, I just don't think he's the guy to pull it off. But here he tweets, the problem is a system that disproportionately empowers those on the extreme because of closed party primaries and only having two political parties. So what he's saying here basically is this common adage, which is spat out by a lot of, people on TV and centrist-minded people, that, the problem is that the Democrats, the quote-unquote left, has been taken over by the extreme lefties, people like Zach and me, and that the right wing has been taken over by extreme right-wingers. That's the problem. It's that the two extremes have all the control over the situation, and all the, common sense minded, centrists, all the, just good old boys, they're getting shut out of the system by these extremists. So people like Andrew Yang's voice is getting lost in the sea of people like Zach and me's voice. Anyway, that's his assertion here, which again is kind of just a nonsense adage, a cliche, frankly. But anyway, Jimmy Dore actually responded. Jimmy says, no, it empowers the corporations and billionaires that control them. The actual left in America has zero political power. Our problems are caused by the corporate capture of both parties, not because socialists control the Democrats, but because Wall Street does. This is bullshit. So actually, Jimmy Dore is 100% on point here. 100% on point. I think he's totally correct. And I really appreciate the fact that he's pointing out that no, the situation we're in now is not the fault of the left. The actual left, as he says, has zero political power, which is 100% true and quite unfortunate also.
Yeah, look, Andrew Yang is just parroting regurgitation of the, Ezra Klein, Vox Media, why we're polarized kind of bullshit that was all the rage in the wake of the Trump era. Like, imagining us as this, like, massively polarized country when we are completely not, right? And, it's so obvious, right, that this is just a recycled idea, because he doesn't want to point out exactly what Jimmy points out is that consensus in Washington is capitalism, the benefit of the opulent, right? Enriching the corporate class at the expense of the working poor and the, people below the poverty line, the expanding, poor, the discarded class, as somebody like Chris Hedges would call them. And yeah, this is exactly what you want to see from Jimmy Dore, right? This is a 100% accurate takedown of a guy he's had on his show before, a guy that used to posture as like a quasi-leftist. We'll talk about more about people who used to posture as quasi-leftists later. But like Andrew Yang is like not a leftist at all, right? As Gavin pointed out, he has made no effort and actually remarked against his willingness to, or his remarked about his unwillingness to forego corporate capital in his Forward Party, right? As if that's not part of the problem. He's also super in bed in the crypto project, which I think has just blown up and evidenced itself to be a total sham at this point. I mean, come on, guys. Oh, it's the next internet. Like, keep telling yourself that. I mean, I can't believe it. But, so yeah, this is exactly spot on bullseye from Jimmy, exposing Andrew Yang for being nothing more than what he was, which was a finger in the wind opportunist that's now pivoted to gussy up to more liberals. This is what liberals want to hear. This is the only kind of criticism that liberals are interested in, because it basically doesn't disrupt their lives, right? It doesn't disrupt their comfort in any meaningful way. It does not get in the way of them collecting and extracting more and more wealth and continuing to live fabulous opulent lives, right? But anyway, yeah, Yang is in bed with crypto billionaires. If you want a future of crypto bailouts, vote Forward Party. Yeah, the day that I can't even say what I will do the day that we bail out a cryptocurrency in the United States with our money. I can't give. I'm of course only implying this to sound. I will not be replicating the actions of the Unabomber. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Somebody cut into my microphone right there. I'm not sure who that was. I'm sorry. I do love America.
Yeah, and Andrew Yang was talking about making New York City the crypto capital of the world while he was running for mayor. With the state that the crypto market is in now, I think it's safe to say that most New Yorkers are pretty glad he didn't win that nomination.
The best part about that, though, is that Eric Adams took his fucking salary in crypto, and now it's like fucking pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is that who they got might have been even worse in Eric Adams. Truly one of the worst Democrats in the country. But yeah, anyway, I thought this was pretty funny. Someone else who I wanted to quickly shout out is friend of the show, Pat the Burner, who's also on Twitter and worth following. He says, in response to this tweet from Andrew Yang, quote unquote, it's more obvious than ever that the U.S. needs a solid third party. And again, that's something I obviously agree with. I think Zach does too. On its face value, yeah, we're on the same team, Andrew. It's just that when you get into the minutia, when you get into campaign finance and all that stuff, you start to realize that what he's proposing as a solution here is really just more of the problem. So again, Pat the Burner retweets this and says he's right, but never forget that this clown endorsed Biden when Bernie could still win. He's a fraud. 100% true. So, that's what I always go back to. It's like, yeah, you're technically right about third parties. You're right about the duopoly. But goddamn, bro, when it really mattered, you were a goddamn tool of the duopoly. You were a goddamn tool of the corporate Democratic oligarchy. And you got paid too as well by being on CNN, where you announced your endorsement of Joe Biden. So anyway, I just think it's very distasteful. Obviously, if his transformation has been genuine, then I guess credit where it's due. But it's a little bit too late, bro.
Oh, it's not been genuine at all. Come on, bro. This guy is a capitalist. This guy's a businessman. That's all he's doing is running a business, is his own brand. If you go to business school, guys, one thing that they will tell you fucking ad nauseum is they'll feed you this bullshit like, on the 21st century, you're your own brand. You've got to brand yourself and make your brand strong. And, it's going to be completely independent from a company. Everything's going to be freelance. It's going to be all about the value you can create. All of that kind of like, sell yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like succeed in America and make $1 million kind of shit that they sell everybody at business school, right? Like, go rip everybody's fucking throats out and get them all that money. That shit is real. You will have so many people that think like that if you go to business school. I mean, they put a little bit of a veil on it if you go to some like neoliberal institution, but once you get to the fucking startup world, they take that mask off. Anyway, where was I? What were we talking? Oh yeah, Andrew Yang. Sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day, though. That is one thing. Like the other day, he tweeted something. He's tweeted, it feels like Democrats owe their people an apology for being bad at their jobs. They had a long time to codify Roe v. Wade, defend the balanced court, get RBG to step down, etc. Instead, they got played and trounced. Help undo our failures is not a compelling rallying cry. Like Gavin Quo tweeted that and was like, yep, 100% broken clock. Like normally we dunk on you because you're an idiot, but today you said something smart. And sometimes he does say smart things. And that was how he built his entire brand, was like being a quasi outsider, right? He honestly, and it's funny because he got on almost everybody's radar because of his appearance on this show. But he kind of has this like Joe Rogan ability to like be have one foot in the outside world, but then also be like just a hardcore like capitalist and a safe money making machine for people. Like Andrew Yang will say things that are like kind of outside the bounds, but really his allegiance is towards capital. And I think we'll see that when we talk about Joe Rogan a little bit later today as well. And those are the people that succeed the most in the like outsiderdom, like the Silicon Valley people were like, wow, these guys are really thinking outside of the box, but they're not thinking that outside of the box. They're just thinking slightly differently inside that very profitable box that they want us all to be in.